20 that I do at my live shows. And we also have one we're doing, this is the one we'll be doing today. So it's a little bit smaller, it's an 11 by 14. And so, but I did want to give you this really big, beautiful version first. This is our inspiration for today's painting. So this is what it will kind of look like when we're done. I'm going to put this over here to the side. And then this is what we are doing today. So I have on my website, tipsyartist.com, I have these awesome templates for y'all. So these are digital downloadable templates that will print on any computer printer. And so you can use just cheap copy paper if that's all you've got, and it works just fine to trace. If you do want to make them a little bit more substantial, then of course using a heavier weight paper like a cardstock works really well, and so it will feel and look a little bit more like this. There's a heavier weight to this. And so this is just metallic cardstock. You can use just regular white cardstock. So I've got my little flower shape here, and then I've got my stem, and then I have my leaf. And I also have a big variety of hearts too. So I've got that's under a separate one there. That's on templates on the website, again at tipsyartist.com. So again, it makes it very easy, very fun. That's our motto right here, to make things very easy, very, very fun. All right, so again, this is our canvas here, 11 by 14. I have all the supplies, all the description below on my YouTube channel. And so, but I am going to give you a little visual of everything we've got. So we've got our little family of brushes here. We've got Big Daddy, all right, and then we've got Mama. And then we have two sweet little kiddos. We've got Little Buddy, there he is, and then Little Bill, all right? So that's our family of brushes. Then I always have a little bit of water nearby, and then we have a rag or paper towel, and then we've got paint. And I just use regular, paper plates, styrofoam plates, and top plate is for mixing. I keep a lot of extras of these around, and then also here's our plate all loaded up with all the paint to start with. So, and I have got this below as well. All right, so to get started, we're going to start with the background first. So I'm going to be using my Big Daddy brush. This is the biggest brush that we've got. And we're going to go ahead and place in that background color there. So to get started, I'm going to pick up well, first let me back up and say this. I'm going to be using a dry brush. I don't have any water in the mix. I don't want to dilute the paint. I'm actually using a student grade acrylic paint, so I don't really like to add a lot of water to it at all. So I like to keep it, it's got just the right weight, just the way it is, without any water. So just keeps it very thick to not have any extra water here. So dry brush, and then I'm going to pick up a nice big dollop of white paint here. That's my start, big dollop there. And then I am going to take a little, like pea-size amount of the gold. So the color's like an ochre color, or like mustard, I guess, too, is kind of what that looks like. So we've got big dollop of white, little pea-size amount of that gold color, and then just a teeny amount of the black. So I take my brush and I just barely dip into the black. So I don't really pick up black, but just barely dip into it. That's all the black that I need. So I'm going to push that here. So that's my mix so far. So real heavy on the white, a little bit of gold, teeny tiny amount of the black. So then I'm going to mix all this together, and this will give me a really pretty, kind of a creamy taupe color. So this is my base here for the shiplap color that's happening in the background. And then I always want to make sure I've got lots of just pure white off to the side. So my first step here, I'm going to be using this really pretty cream color to start with, and I'm going to be placing this into the background. And as I'm painting in the background, I want to make sure I get really good coverage. So I like to hold my brush a little bit out to the side. It's more parallel to the canvas, really. And so this really helps me get really nice opaque coverage over the surface. And then I asked you before to go ahead and put a little bit of pure white off to the side. So I go ahead and push into that pure white, and I push that through in the mix here too. And so just push this into the background. So as long as you're in a larger area and you're just working into the background, then you can just hold that brush and Now, when you start to do your cut-in work, I'm going to get my cute little red peepers on here so you can see a little bit better. Alright, so now as I'm looking here, I have to do a little bit of cut-in work. So I'm going to change how I hold the brush a little bit. I'm going to push back and forth here into the paint. I want to make sure that my brush has not become too filled with paint. That will make the bristles kind of spread out. Makes it very difficult to get a really nice thin line. So sometimes you have to actually wash your brush and dry it off really well and then push back into the paint so that you can have a nice thin line. We're still looking like we're in pretty good shape here, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it the way it is, and then I'm going to go ahead and hold it more like I would hold a pencil, and this will help me have really nice thin lines to do my cutting work around the shape of the flower here. And then once I get back out to the background, into that larger area, then I can go ahead and hold my brush a little bit more, over to the side. And then one other thing I'll tell you, because I'm about to start to cheat just for the sake of time here. If you line out your templates with a Sharpie, it always bleeds through the paint, so it affords you the opportunity to cheat a little bit and be a little bit messy with your background. So I don't have to be, just extremely tidy and neat and precise when I do my cut-in work. So this helps me be a little bit fast in here, so I can do quick little brush strokes that allow me to work just straight through here. And you can see how the Sharpie is already kind of showing through. And the longer it sets, the more it will really show through. I'm actually going to be coming into those flowers with a much darker turquoise color here in just a little bit, so it will really pop out over the top. So no worries about this really pretty light green coming through here next. So I'm just going to keep pushing this color all the way through here. And I'm going to have to mix up a little bit more. Sometimes that happens. So again, the color mix, big dollop of white. I'm going to actually get a little bit more. Make sure I got it. Alright, so again, big dollop of white. And then that little pea-sized amount of gold, teeny tiny touch of the black. Alright, so I've got plenty now. And if you're wondering what that black does, that black mixes with that white, it makes a really pretty gray, and then that gray mixes with that gold. That's what brings us to more of like a khaki taupe. Alright, so I'm going to keep pushing this all the way through here. And again, I am being really sloppy with this first mix because for one thing, I want my horizontal lines to be a little bit more fluid as they go across. It allows me to have a little bit more fun with the process and then pull that white all the way across there. And then I don't have to worry about any interruptions. And so it just makes it a lot easier, especially when you're doing a shiplap pattern. It's a lot easier to just pull all the way through. So again, great tip is to go ahead and just use that Sharpie in the beginning to do all of your tracing, and then that way you won't cover that. Because if you do use a pencil to start with, then you do run the risk of it actually just being completely covered. Now if that happens, let's say you do want to use a pencil for your beginning tracing, because sometimes we're a little bit intimidated by the Sharpie. It's very permanent, scares us a little bit. You can just paint your entire background first, and you can get all this down in the beginning, and then you can come back with your templates after it's completely dried, and then you can just go ahead and trace on all your templates in at that point too. That's another really good tip there. Alright, so now we've got all of our background. I'm going to put a few more little light strokes of white coming through the surface area here. That's looking really good. So now I can start working into the flowers. Alright, so I'm going to get another, I might switch gears to my little buddy brush when I'm starting to work into these small areas, but I want to mix up the turquoise color. Alright, so we have got a dollop of blue. and then a dollop of green, and then a dollop of white. So we want it to be approximately, equal parts here. So blue, green, and white. Blue, green, and white. We're going to mix all of these together, and this will give us a really pretty turquoise color. So when you've got, again, 3 equal parts there, it does bring you to this. Now, if you want to push this in different directions, I always tell people if you put a little bit of green in, it takes it to more of a teal. If you put a little bit more blue in, then it's more of a true turquoise color. All right, so here are my equal parts, blue, green, and white. They brought us to a beautiful turquoise. So now we can go ahead and start to paint into the petals. All right, so I'm going to hold the brush a little bit more like I would hold a pencil. That gives me those thin lines there. And this is a little bit smaller than I usually use my Big Daddy when I'm working. I would say you might be a little bit more comfortable using your little buddy brush. I'm going to show you that here too. Or even Mama. A little bit smaller. A little bit easier to control. Especially when we get into the really small areas, I'm going to go ahead and shift gears. I'm going to go ahead and keep working with it. Again, just use it just like, holding it just like I would hold a pencil. That gives me those thin line edges. And I am getting a little bit of pull through of that cream because the paint is still wet. Keep that in mind. If that is not a desired effect that you want to go ahead and let it wait until it fully dries. But I'm actually okay with that lighter color pushing into the mix. So I'll go ahead and just leave it just the way it is. And I'm going to go ahead and then pull down another coat here in all the petals. And even if I have like a pure coat, look, I'm picking up some of that darker blue, and so that is actually a nice effect too. It kind of brings in a different little streak of color there. And I do a curving kind of loop effect there. And then as we get closer in towards the center, I'm going to ease up on using this for a couple of reasons. It's too big. It's going to actually really see where this is. Turquoise has really great coverage, so there is a big chance that I'm even going to lose my Sharpie line here, so I don't want to do that. The other reason is you can look at the end of my brush. It is becoming a real nuisance now. So it is filled with so much paint that it's very thick on the end, and there's no way for me to have a nice precise line. So it's time to clean my tools. So I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to push it into the water. Spin it round and round and round and round. That helps release that paint. And then I'm going to keep checking the brush. So I keep pulling it out until it's completely clear. And then really important here on this next step, you do want to make sure and dry off your brush really well before you start to paint again. Because if you start to paint, it still has a lot of, I get my brushes in China, so yay! All right, let me switch over. So anyway, if you have a lot of water in your brush, and you start to paint again, you don't get it all dried off, then you get lovely little water runs that come down your canvas, and that's not fun because they will actually just erase right through paint. And so unless it is a desired effect that you're trying to intentionally, it's really kind of hard to correct. So prevention is the key on this one. Just make sure that you keep your brushes dry and really well, dry them off really well before you load up with the next color. Alright, so I'm going to come back in with a little bit more turquoise. I actually have to mix that more because I'm just about out. So I'm going to come in here with a lot more white. And then we've got a cobalt blue. This is like an emerald green. It's really pretty, very bright and vibrant. teal on me, so I'm going to go back and push some more blue. So we've got a nice mix again here. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to just initially hold it just like a pencil. Start to make those little loops, those lines that come around the petals. And just keep doing that, working it all the way around. And this brush can be a little bit big for this, so I would recommend, let me show you one with a smaller brush here, because it is a little bit easier to control with your little buddy here. So let's take little buddy, because you can come all the way out to the edges, and then pull into the center. You don't have to worry about getting off or out of bounds there. Got a smaller brush, so it is a little bit easier. And then it's about time for me to start working into the details. So I'm going to take my little brush here and I'm going to first do my cutting work. So again, holding it just like you hold a pencil. And then once I've got that thin line done, but then I'll start to hold the brush more out to the side. Even with a small brush, you can come back in and hold it more out to the side. Alright, and now there's that side move I was telling you about. This really helps you get better coverage, and you can even do a little bit of crisscross action with the brush handle. So it makes it easier to control. So that I don't see any just real stark lines with the brush strokes. So when you can just, kind of turn it over to the side and then pull out and then kind of do a little crisscross with it so that it helps. It's kind of like a way to soften the line to the side. It will have a nice little texture to it once it dries. If you want to continue that, you can keep kind of doing a little crisscross motion all the way out to the edges there. Pretty subtle, but it's a nice technique. Alright, so I'm going to come back up here to the top and repeat that same move where we're just doing our cutting work around those little shapes. And I know that I'm going to be using a black in the center, which has really good coverage, so even if I have a little bit of overlay that comes in, it's okay, because black really covers well, so I'm not really that concerned about that. And then I'm going to do a little crisscross blending effect, holding little buddy here out to the side. He's a great tool, great little helper here. So again, kind of push in around to the center, and then kind of crisscross it out. Looks like you are making like a little letter X. Cool. We have a Airbnb here, so actually we have two. We have two bed and breakfasts upstairs, and so it's really fun to go and do it. And we've got Atomic Loft, which is like a museum, and it's filled with really beautiful wall-size art that my husband does. And then the Vinyl Loft is decorated with our record album collection, so it's super fun. pitter-pattering and talking. I can't make out what they're saying. I'm not like listening in on their conversation, but it's just, I just hear it. It's kind of like Charlie Brown's teacher, you know, just kind of you know, up there. So I promise I'm not really listening to what they're saying, but I can hear I can just hear voices. So, all right. So a little crisscross here. Blend it all in. Especially since I had to remix color and come back in over the top. It may be a little bit of a shade off, so I may really want to rework this a little bit, take it all the way out to the outer limit so that I don't see this line of different color that kind of goes halfway through the petal and doesn't match. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I cover really well one more time. And it's pretty fast with this being so small. Take it back out to the edges here. So again, just kind of round it out and then crisscross back and forth with the brush to get the other reason why we crisscross the paint back and forth is because that's how we get good coverage too. So when we hold the brush more like a pencil, then it has a tendency to, you know, like when I hold it like this, it will dig into the paint and it will kind of scrape it off sometimes and it will really thin it out. So again, holding it more out to the side will allow a lot more of that paint to actually rest on the surface. Keeps it there on the surface, which is what we want. So we're almost done here. If you do find that you need another coat, of course you can always do that. Sometimes you don't really know until you get it out in the sun and the light shines on it. You can have a better feel for what you need. Alright, so now I've got my turquoise done, and we're going to let that just kind of set up right where it is a little bit here, and then so now I'm going to come in with the really beautiful bright green next. Alright, so I'm going to use Little Buddy again. I'm going to rinse off my brush a little bit. Make sure and dry it off too. Okay. Then I've got my beautiful bright green and a little bit of white. So I'm going to take my white and my green and mix those two together. And this will give me a beautiful bright so green and white, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint into the little leaf here. This is the stem. Alright, so we got the stem here. I'm just going to pull that all the way down. And then let's do a little leaf here. So hold it like you would hold a pencil, get that line edge in there. It's real easy. And then take that all the way around. And then you can see I need better coverage here, so I'm going to turn it over to the side. Over to the side. And we're going to do the same thing over on the other leaf here. So mix up our green and white. Hold it just like you would hold a pencil to start with. Do our line work here. Alright, and then with a light soft hand, holding over to the side, paint onto the surface. the foundation for my roses. You might not be able to see that. Okay, so I want to get a nice solid flat color in the background now. So I've got my little buddy, and I want some pink. I want some light pink. I need some clear. My white is getting to be kind of messy. So I want some clean white. Take a dollop of white here, and then a little touch of the red. That will give me a light pink base. So that's going to be my base here for the rose. So my first step here is just to go ahead and push this in. And again, this is just white and red. And I'm just going to make what looks like little lumpy circles here to start with. And I do kind of push strokes around in little circles all the way around, but it is looking just kind of like a big lumpy circle at this point, and that's actually wonderful. That's where we want to be. So that's our first layer, if you will. And then I'm going to do another little baby rose right here. Check your brush, make sure you don't get a lot of green in there, because that's not what you want. Circles. I'm actually going to let that set up and dry a little bit, because I do have another layer to put onto the rose, but I need a little bit more setup time. So, okay, so I've got that going, and then I'm going to work on my little red hearts, or they can be kind of hot pink. Let's do hot pink. Let's do hot pink. So red, but make it darker. So I want hot pink now, so I'm going to add a lot more red to the white. Using a little body, by the way, is a great tool. And I have to start really filling work, so I'm going to turn it over to the side. And again, same thing over here. Second verse, same as the first. So hold it like a pencil, helps you do that line work that comes around the edges. Alright, so we got a really nice start so far. Then it is now time for, let's see, I'm going to do black outline yet. You know what? Okay, black is actually the very last thing that I want to do. So I'm going to hold off just a little bit more on the black, and I'm going to come in and just work in a few more details here that I want to happen around the stem area. So I need my little bit brush, and little bit is the tiniest brush that we've got. And I'm going to do the detail work on the roses. So, you know, ideally you might want to let this set up and dry a bit more. I'm going to go ahead and push it in now. So I've got my little bit. I'm going to just go ahead and dip into the white paint. And I'm going to make what looks like little half circles that come around that shape. And I keep pushing it all the way around, and then keep coming in towards the center. So it's the same stroke, little half circles. And then you can see how I'm coming in towards the middle with every single stroke here. All right, so little half circles, little half circles. All right, and just keep working that in towards the middle. We've got sirens going on outside. I hope everybody's okay. All right, so there's our little roses. Now that's the first layer. Second layer will be to come in with a a really dark shade. So for me on this one, I'm gonna do red. I'm gonna do the darkest shade. So I'm gonna come in with a little bit brush, make sure it is dry. So I washed it off, make sure it's all dry because we don't want what looks like a mascara run with red paint. That'd be kind of gory. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of red here. First thing I'm gonna do is make a little spot right in the center. So there's my little shadow, center of the rose, kind of push down, pull it off. Then I'm gonna come back in with my little bit brush and just do, it's like a repeat of the same stroke. So little half circles. You might even see a little bit of soft blend with that white. That is absolutely lovely. So little half circles all the way around. So just a little bit of red. Not as heavy on the red, but a little bit lighter with that for this. Just creates a little bit of shadow and then also that darker hue of color coming through. So again, just little half circles and then we're done. So just a very delicate touch and just little half circles, repeat that pattern all over the top. It's lovely. Two-step process, super easy. So I did white first, then I did red. And then don't forget that little spot right in the center because again, every rose has that little dark shadow right in the center of the rose. So those are our cute little roses there. Then let's do some tiny little leaves and some fun little loopy leaves, a couple of different effects here. So I've got little bit here again. I'm gonna push into the white and now the green, okay? And making a little tiny leaf. So it feels like you do a little parentheses and then another little parentheses. And ta-da, there's your fun little leaf. Okay, let's do that again. All right, little parentheses, another little parentheses, and we're good. Okay, so we can do a few more of those if you like that, but those are just really fun and tiny. So that's a fun little leaf that you can do. When they come off of the sides of the roses, it really helps provide a little bit more realism to the rose. I like the way that looks there. Okay, so it's getting to be, I think, just busy enough in there. So we're gonna go ahead and just leave that alone. Now I'm gonna come back in with the black outline work. So let's see. Got lots of black outline happening. First things first, we're gonna put black in here around that little heart, okay? So I've got my little bit brush. Again, make sure that we've just rinsed them off. We're gonna make sure and dry them off really well. Then let's push into the black. So I do a little twist here into the black. So what this does is it loads it up with paint, but then it also twists the head of the brush into a nice fine point. So that will give you a lot more precision for the details. Ooh. Man, I almost dropped it. Still holding on. Okay, so a little bit of black here. And then I'm gonna go up with little, I'm losing my words. Just little, they look like little mountaintops, but like, you know, just really just up and down is kind of the way it looks here. And then of course you can go over the outline here of your little hearts. That will really help make those, you know, pop and come forward in your design. Okay. So just little bitty, like triangles almost. So that's how I'm going to come back in and outline it. And that feels good to your hand. When you tell your brain something that it is familiar with, like little triangles, for example, then it gives your brain some comfort, and then it gives you confidence to come in and do those little strokes there. Then I want to make sure that I've got that outline that comes around the heart. I want to make sure oops, I got a big, picked up a lot of red there. All right, so let's firm up that outline there, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of this with black. And for this detail work, just feel really confident that black does cover very well, and you can just hold it more like you would hold a pencil. All right, so that's the center of our little flower there. I'm going to go ahead and work that in there too. All right, and then here, I'm going to do a little curvy stroke this time. So I just kind of wiggle the brush, give you some options. So this time it's a little bit of a curvy, just up and down, softer curve on this one. So you kind of play with that, see which one you like the best. And then I'm going to make sure I do my outline around that heart, make it pop out to the front. Make sure I get that little tail of the heart here too. And then I will fill it in. And then fill it in. All right, so we've got our center there. And then I'm going to come in, and what really helps is to come in and do the outline work around all the petals. So that really makes the design pop at the end. Because right now it's still looking a little bit raw and unfinished. So I'm going to use my little bit brush here. I'll show you what that looks like. You can make the lines around the petals with your little bit brush. Helps a lot too to have that black in the center, because it gives your mind a goal, like the end zone, the place to reach there. You don't have to worry about being too tidy, because you're just running right into that black space. So you can just connect all the way around. So this has a very fun, childlike quality to it, almost like, I'm a big fan of folk art. So, all right, and then off to the side there. And then we don't want to forget our little stem down here. I'm going to make sure and outline that as well. And then we're going to go ahead and come all the way up and do these here too. And if you do pull a little bit of paint off, it's okay. You can come back in over the top and come back in with a second coat later. And then off to the side. I think I'm more of a fan of the curvies. So I'm going to go ahead and curve those out too. All right, fun. All right, same thing up here at the top. So I want to make sure and just loop around each petal here. And this can also be done with a little buddy brush too. And as a matter of fact, sometimes it's a little bit easier when you're doing bigger lines like this. So I've got my little buddy brush, and I can go ahead and take that all the way around. So little buddy works really well too. And then around. Definitely want to hold little buddy more like you would hold a pencil though, so that you do get that precision of that line that happens around that. And it's going a lot faster too. So I'm gonna probably just push through here at the end with my little buddy brush, because I'm gonna kind of speed through this. Here we go again. Almost. And we're almost done. Yeah, lots of petals. Okay. All right, awesome. So you can see it already really popping out towards the front, which is really nice. All right, so now I'm going to start to work on the other little stem action over here. So, and I really do appreciate Little Buddy on this because there's that nice thin line edge there. And if you try to use too small of a brush, a lot of times it gives you kind of a shaky hand, and it's kind of hard to pull through. So I'm gonna go ahead and I like the thin line here of my Little Buddy. And I kind of overlap there, so I'm gonna pull that in. And then I want to be very delicate with any kind of outlining that I do with the roses. So I don't want a really firm hard line around any of that. I want to be a little bit more of like a light sketch that doesn't even really completely come around that. So nice dry brush here. I'm going to dip into the black paint. I'm going to connect that little line there and just do kind of a light sketch. We do want it to pop out to the front, provide a little bit of that shadow that comes around that rose, but I don't necessarily want to make it too, just like too circular around it, or I lose the nuance there, and just kind of make a little bit of a shadow with the black. That little baby one coming in front, and then this guy. Little sketch of a line on that side, and then also I'm going to go ahead and firm up those little tiny leaves off to the side there too. All right, so now you really see the roses pop out in front too. We've got our flowers done. We've got our stems done, little leaves, roses. Now all we have left is the faint line of the shiplap running through the back, which is an optional step. You don't have to do it. You can leave it kind of clean and neutral with our cream. I do recommend going back to a, gosh, that is terrible. See that brush? Terrible. Terrible. You want to make sure it's a good brush that is thin and clean and dry. So I'm going to have to wash one of these off. Here's what I'm looking for. Boy, not that. This one's better. Aha, this is what I'm looking for. See how thin that is? That's what I'm looking for right there. All right, so, and also I don't want any excess water in there. And I want to make sure that I've got, I'm gonna use a different brush to mix with. That way I don't fatten up my brush with lots of paint again. So I'm going to take some white and a little bit of black. I'm gonna mix up this kind of dark charcoal color. So I think that's kind of nice. It's not as, bold and contrasting as the black would be. So I like the look of the dark charcoal there. So now I'm going to use this clean brush, nice thin line there, and I'm going to go ahead and push into the charcoal. All right, and then I'm just going to hold it. To me, it's easier to go across. So I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to go this way, and then this way. I'm following those lines that I already have set up. Little baby right there. And then just across. And your shiplap lines are certainly, they don't have to be perfect at all. In fact, you know, if you know what shiplap is, just like a distressed, it's like a distressed wood. So it's, you know, it can be definitely kind of have that sketchy look to it, very imperfect. It doesn't have to be consistently, certainly don't want this big heavy line going all the way through there. So that is really pretty, just like it is. I love it. So we've got our shiplap happening here, and we've got our outlines, which makes the design really pop. My final touch will be to sign my masterpiece. Now I have a lot of activity happening over here. Normally, you know, traditionally you see a lot of signatures happening on the right corner. I say just do it wherever it fits with the composition. And if you want, you can paint it on, or you can use a Sharpie when it's completely dry. So I've got my little bit here. I'm going to twist into the black paint. That'll give me a nice fine point. And then I've got room here, so I'm going to go ahead and write my little signature here. Tipsy Artist. Ta-da! There it is. All right, so we are finished. This is very exciting. Okay, so we have done our beautiful love flowers. These are perfect for this time of year. We're getting really close to Valentine's Day, so this is lovely for this time of year. What's also nice about this design is it's awesome all year round. So you can customize the colors, do whatever you'd like there too. But again, just a very beautiful design for all year round, or a great way to say I love you to someone very special in your life. So thank you so much for painting with me today. And remember, we do have templates on our website, tipsyartist.com. And they're really easy to use. You just, they're digital, they're downloadable. You just download them, print them, cut them out, and then you're off to the races and off to the painting. Easy and fun. And thank you again so very much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers. Mwah.